should be good. Into Echelon Wastes for our first map. It is going to be a PvZ. And why don't you take away the introductions of our two Dutch players here?
So here we are in the game. A nice little bit of PvP. We've casted a lot of this recently, 5 games in a row.
I said it wrong, didn't I?
I don't know. I don't care. It's a PvP, that much we do know. And yeah, of course, being PvP, this means we should be seeing some gateway units. We should be seeing some one-base plays, quite likely. And these two, they're on thin ice right now because this is a double elimination bracket. This is the loser side of it, so they have to win this series. There's no recovery if this goes wrong for them. So yeah, Lilian, take it away. Introduce these two players.
All right, I'll go ahead and do that. As my microphone is having a bit of an issue, it's not being good to me. I'll sort it out in a second. In the bottom right spawn position, playing for Team Mouse Control, playing as Protoss, and playing in blue today, it is Darkomicron. And in the top left spawn position, we've got his opponent also fighting for a chance to stay in this tournament. He's playing for Lowland Lions. It is the Red Protoss player, Melle.
Okay, so both of these two players we've seen frequently throughout the online qualifiers. We've seen them put up a really good fight throughout the day today. They've had some tough opponents. Okay, so Melle came down from the winner's bracket. He lost to Harstem 2-1. That was a good series. Okay, his opponent, Darkomicron, he went up against Jonah in the first round of the losers bracket 2-0. So this has been a pretty tough journey for both of them. They've been up against some really tough opponents, and I'm really looking forward to what's happening. At the moment, we see that both players getting up their second gases, everything going perfectly normally, nothing too crazy as of yet. 2 probes in the gas for Melle there. For Darkomicron, he's also got, he's actually gone up to 5. He's going a lot quicker up on the gas. So getting more gas out just means that you can pump more tech-heavy units quicker. You can possibly look at going Stargate. Stargate's a really popular build on this map, purely based on the fact that there is so much dead space into the main. It's solid to go. We've seen a lot of Oracle play actually today from the Protoss players, especially in PvP. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something along those lines. Alternatively though, there's other options apart from just the Stargate, isn't there, Lilian?
Yeah, there definitely is. I would like to see some Twilight Council play, some Blink play. The build that I talked about earlier, I'm not sure if that was on this stream, might have been on the side stream, where we shown a really good PvP series between Harstem and Shak, I believe it was. And Harstem went for a very cool early Mothership Core build where he scouted with, and then followed it up with Blink. And that's a build that Artosis has been popularizing. It's a build that we see Parting do in the GSL, and it's definitely a solid build. It's a good build. You can react to anything in time. I'm hoping to see that at least once in this series.
Now, what is quite interesting is straight away we've got variation in their play. At the moment, Darko, he's going for a Zealot and Sentry. He's, opposed to his opponent, Melle, he's getting out a Zealot and Stalker. That's just slightly less gas intensive, but it does mean that Mel's getting a second gateway up quite a bit sooner than that of his opponent. That's going to be a bit more of an aggressive footing. The Sentry opening, usually speaking, is a more defensive play. And if you are going to be more defensive, you want to be able to force field the ramp to your main base to prevent anything moving up. Both players do have their Mothership cores out, and there's Melle with 2 gates into a robotics facility. So this you can expand out from it. That's absolutely fine. We see the minerals are banking up, ready to go for it. But it also means that tech-wise, Melle isn't getting behind, going to be able to produce quite a lot. It's not the most economical build, but it's a very good all-round safe build to be going for.
Yeah, it is. Both players playing a pretty safe build in regards to what they are doing. Of course, the scouting information for Melle is going to be a little bit better, as he has been able to see that the Nexus has gone down. As far as Darkomicron goes, he hasn't even sent out a single unit past his ramp just yet. There we do see the first hallucinated Phoenix making its way over, so that's going to go ahead and get some scouting information for Darkomicron that he needs, because he's got no idea. He doesn't know about this Nexus is down. For all he knows, he could get 4-gated in a second.
And that scouting information, I'm glad you pointed it out, because it is so critical to know it's coming down. There is the hallucinated Phoenix now on its way in. It does get a scout on the natural base of Melle. So Darko is more aware of what's happening. Both players should be fairly comfortable with this, because once you know that your opponent's expanding, you're not at risk of getting too much pressure anytime soon. But the big thing that we've really got to take note of is that there is that additional warp gate already down for Melle. That's just going to allow him to pump a few more gateway units, get up a very defensive force, and he's going straight up to a robotics bay. And you were actually talking about this really quick robo earlier on today.
Yeah, going for a really quick robo like this is it's usually good. It's kind of becoming the standard in PvP again, whereas first we saw some Void Ray timings just completely destroy Protoss players in the early stages of Heart of the Swarm. But this robo play is coming back in favor, and Melle has of course seen that his opponent is expanding himself, so he doesn't have to be as careful. Of course, Darkomicron has also seen that. I'm expecting him to be going into that robotics bay too, just a little bit later. He's getting a few immortals for safety.
Now, the interesting thing is both these two players are both getting their +1 upgrades down. The big difference so far in their builds is just that it's a slightly more aggressive play for the time being from Melle, just getting down that quick tech and also the additional gateway. That second gateway has now been overtaken by Darko, who's got his 3 gates up. He's getting his own robotics bay now. Economically speaking, Darko's slightly ahead. That's because he didn't commit to that second gateway so early on. It allowed him to squeeze a few more probes out, and in a mirror match, every worker really does count. In terms of scouting, Melle just sending this hallucinated Phoenix in, so is Darko. They're both getting great reads on each other, fully aware of what their opponent is planning and responding appropriately to it. This is a really even game at the moment. The worker count difference is negligible, in all honesty. This is definitely going to be going into the later stages.
Yeah, it's very rare to see a PvP play out this passive in the early game. There's always someone opening with the Stargate, always someone getting Blink or having some kind of timing in mind or some cheese plan that they want to execute. DTs, for example. Not in this game, though. Very passive play. Both players going to be getting their Colossi out right now, and they'll be happily sitting on 2 bases, probably even 3 bases. I think neither one really has a chance to commit to much. They're doing the exact same build. They're getting the Colossi at the same time, about and around. They'll be getting Thermal Lance at about the same time. So there's not really any timings they could hit to win this game.
The first difference that we are seeing is the Twilight Council is done for Darkomicron. That's going to just allow him to start +2 up straight away, and on the money he starts that ace. And this just means that he's also got the upgrades available from the Twilight Council as well. In terms of teching up, it's a minor advantage, but as this game is so close, we're seeing minor differences between the two of them. So because that Twilight Council +2 attack compared to +1 armor, ground armor, but actually Melle going to be going up for the double forges. This is an interesting style, and will give him the upgrade lead once he starts that up.
It's funny how ridiculously close this is.
Yeah.
A second ago they had identical army supplies, identical worker supplies, and well, therefore they also had identical supply overall.
Well done. Your maths is good here, Lillian.
Yeah, adding up numbers, that's something that I do know how to do.
So, of course, these two, when it is so close, it's going to come down to their micro-engagements and the timing of their third bases. Darkon has got his third up slightly sooner, but it's also running a risk. And they're also taking different thirds, and I think that's really important to note, because on Akelon Waste, you've got the rock tower there. Knocking that down makes you slightly safer. Taking the third in the position that Melle has, though, means that you can defend your natural and third very easily from one position, and that's important because it's going to come down to these big engagements. These little pokes up, the Colossi count on either side is exactly the same, though the Immortal count identical. We can't emphasize enough just how close this game is at the moment, and their skill level currently is looking nearly identical.
No, there's really not much to say about this game because it's so close. It's just going to come down to the engagements, and that engagement was good for Melle, getting 2 free zealots there. He has his thermal lance finished up, whereas Darkomicron does not, so therefore he did take a few losses there, was forced to use Photon Overcharge on that Nexus to make sure that he stays safe. And there you can see how much a timing like 10 seconds or 20 seconds on thermal lance research can actually make a bit of a difference in this game. Now,
the crazy
to say
thing,
that Melle is ahead because of 2 zealots...
Well, those are the only 2 units that have died this game. Like, I'm sorry, what PvP have you ever cast where nearly 13 minutes into the game, only 2 zealots have died?
That doesn't happen very often at all. No, it doesn't.
These two just happy to sit back, take their time, charge coming down on both sides. We've got the double upgrades though. This is actually probably the biggest influencing factor of this game going into the later stages. That double forge for Melle, when everything else is identical, those upgrades really will make the difference, especially in the later engagements. We've got the first Archons coming out for Darko. These two just being so passive, but even though they are being passive, they're still getting great reads on each other. Their scouting is impeccable, using Hallucinated Phoenix incredibly frequently just to keep track. If you know that your opponent is being passive as well, you can do that. Both of these two players do like taking it to the later game. They are confident there, and they want to take their chances. Being game one of a best of three as well, they want to find out, the frequent scouting, you get an idea of what kind of play your opponent likes, when they want to make it, and if you can get a good read on that, that is when in game two, maybe even game three, you can try to utilize that experience from playing them really to your advantage.
I wanted to make some kind of a comparison to a series we've seen before where this would happen, but it doesn't. In PvP, seeing this much passiveness, it is so weird. I've seen some PvP series earlier today that were actually super entertaining, even though they went to the late game.
Yep.
But we arrived at the late game PvP about 10 minutes earlier than you usually would. Because usually you'd be going for aggression off of one base, then aggression out of two bases, and then if the game equalizes, you'd be like, okay, grab a third, grab a fourth, get some Colossus. But this game has actually been pretty boring.
Well, it's building up. That's the important thing, is as these two keep expanding, they're already taking their fourths on both sides. It's just such a tech-heavy game. Look at the supply count as well. Mel's slightly ahead. This is probably one of the biggest advantages. Mel is creeping his way into an advantage. Upgrades, supply count, worker count, fractionally going in his favor. But to the same extent, there's advantages you can see there for Darko as well. They've got to engage. It is going to come down to a big engagement. Little things like these warp-ins are going to shut down relatively easily on both sides. But what this has given Mel is knowledge of that fourth base. If we take a look at the vision currently for Darko, he is unaware that Mel is taking his fourth. That's actually quite a big thing. Knowing that that fourth is down and later than your own, that may potentially signal Mel to move in and try and force a cancel. And we can see that he is starting to move across the map now, posturing for that engagement. The Colossi count, exactly the same, 6 on each side. But the difference is the upgrades. 2-2 is already completed for Mel. 3-2 is about to be done. 3-1 is about to be done though for Darko.
Yeah, Darko is going to have a bit of a timing that he could hit where he has 3-3 and his opponent might have 2-2 or maybe 2-3 or 3-2. It depends a little on when exactly he's going to hit, but he might be able to hit with a maxed out army with an upgrade advantage, and that might be all it takes to make the difference in a super close game like this where they're both just sitting back, making more workers and getting maxed out. Both now maxed out, about to be maxed out, about 20 supply left. They've achieved the worker counts that they want to have for the rest of the game, being 72 for Mel and 67 for Darkomicron.
So, going into these later stages, late game PvP is something that we're not often privileged enough to get to see. Usually it ends far sooner, but well, it's clearly something funny happened there. The audience, I think we missed that while we were talking about it, but yeah, at the moment we've got this posturing and actually both armies completely bypassing each other. Mel does need to get back here or risk losing that fourth.
Oh, is he going to commit into it though? No, he's not. He's just sending a few Zealots in here, but with the cannon buying time, more Zealots being warped in by Mel right now, he should be fine. Are we going to see the first fight there? There's some hallucinated Archons in the front that are tanking up some damage. The positioning for Darkomicron not the best. The concave for Mel is exceptional here, but is that going to be enough to win in this engagement? Looks like it is. His Immortals are still alive. They're pushing forward. The support has fallen for Darkomicron. He's got nothing left to support his Colossi, and charge lots are coming from the flanks. And Darkomicron, he's in some trouble. Zealot reinforcements now coming in for Darkomicron. Is that enough to turn the tides? It might be. Mel, where's your next warping round? It's not here.
No, it's not here, and this is a real tussle for control of this Colossus count. Believe it or not, they both actually were on equal count there, but that double Colossus snipe off there, really important for Mel on the retreat. But a Zealot warp-in is doing some nice damage at this fourth base. In terms of the worker count, incredibly equal, 61 to 67 in Darkomicron's favor. But it's a handful. And at this late stage, their incomes are very similar. There is also this fifth base for Mel, which is secured on the left-hand side. Both producing double Colossi, both on 3-3 though for Mel is done. That is a big advantage at this moment in time. 3-3 up against 3-2 can be utilized, and that's one of the contributing factors to why that last engagement went in Mel's favor. But he's got to use that because +3 and +1 shields is coming down for Darkomicron. So if he's chrono boosting that well, it's not going to be a huge amount of time, but he's got the supply, well, a very slight supply advantage. The army supply is near identical as well, 83 to 89. This game is so ridiculously close.
It's the same. Everything's the same. Their army compositions, the upgrades that they're going to be on. We can see both of them are getting shields, but like you said, that armor upgrade is coming out, and that's going to give him a super small edge in a PvP. I mean, armor, arguably one of the less important things to get in a PvP. Sometimes you even see Protoss neglecting the armor upgrade in favor of the shield upgrade, but that's not being done. They're both double upgrading with their forges. Of course, if one player goes for double forge, the other one sees that and does the same.
Yeah.
That's what we saw happening in this game.
Another Zealot warping coming in here from Darkomicron towards the 4th base, but getting shut down pretty easily. He's also sending some down towards the 5th, but it's not going to work that well. There's the army's there, it's defending. There's a single DT in the mix as well for Melle. But now, this is where things are starting to switch up slightly. We've got some Immortals in production for Darkomicron. What are your thoughts towards those Immortals? Do you reckon they're a good thing to mix in at this stage?
If you have Immortals left, when your opponent's gateway and you get Immortals shooting at the Colossi in the back, that's when it becomes really, really scary. But if your Immortals get lasered down by the Colossi from a distance and they're not able to do any damage against armored units, because there's not that many armored units in this army at all, it's only the Colossi, a lot of charge lots in this army composition. This is a real good concave for Melle once more. Look at that. But the Zealots have already evaporated, the Warpins are coming in to reinforce. I don't think Melle can stay here for much longer. With that Warpin Zealot round that is now coming forward, he needs to retreat and get his own reinforcements out here.
In terms of how equally they're trading as well, it's pretty ridiculous. Only about 500 resources different between them, but this Zealot Warpin, this is doing a lot of damage here. Nice Warp Prism play by Darko, and if he snipes off that Templar Archives, it would be quite nice, but he's not probably going to be able to. Melle does have those DTs in there, cleaning it all up, but at the same time, Zealot's running into the 4th base where there's only gas mining. The Warp Prism is always going to be a threat though, and as long as he keeps this threat up, he can potentially do some nice stuff. One pylon, which got depowered, being replaced by another single pylon, which is always an interesting choice, but yeah. It's not a big deal. These DTs are going to be able to shut all of this down. At the same time, down to the right of the map.
That could be significant. That could be pretty significant. Is Melle going to be in position in time to defend that 5th base he has in the bottom left? Yes, he probably will be. He's moving over there now. Is Darkomicron going to get in position first? The shorter reinforcement path is going to be for Melle, and reinforcements are super important at this stage. We saw it in the first big engagement that they had. Having those reinforcements quicker than your opponent is absolutely vital when you have the same unit composition, the same upgrades, the same positioning, the same everything.
Oh, these DTs are coming. Where's the Observer? Okay, no. I got really freaked out there. I thought that was wrong line. Okay, so
wasn't as bad as you thought.
I was like, oh my god, there's so many GGs. Okay, so this game is pretty ridiculous at just how close it is. There's 800 resources lost difference between these two players. The worker count, though, is quite heavily favouring Melle now. He's 9 workers, 11 workers ahead. No, 9 workers ahead of his opponent.
But do you really need 80 workers at this stage?
No, you don't. And that's the problem. His income's looking good. He's building himself, or starting to build up a nice gas bank. Both players are maxed. But having slightly less workers means there's slightly more army there. Ooh, are we going to get the engagement? Yes, we are. They're both going for it. The attack angles are pretty much the same. The arcs slightly more Colossi engaging at the moment, I believe, for Darko. But Melle, he's pushing forward. He's doing nice damage. But Zealots from the side engaging straight onto those Colossi. Reinforcements coming in for Melle as well. This is going just in favor of Darko, and he is able to push back Melle. The Zealots coming in.
Oh, that time warp is brilliant there. The Zealots not able to get to the Colossi, and there's 4 Colossi versus 4 right now. 3 versus 3, 2 versus 2. They're trading almost perfectly once more. It looks like Melle is going to end up getting the worst end of this engagement. This Mothership Core wants a kill. It wants to kill a Colossus. Focus the weak one, Mothership Core. Oh, he gets it.
Did the Mothership Core get the kill, though?
I don't think it did.
Poor Mothership Core
ran in and stole the kill.
Kill-stealing Zealots, damn it. But anyway, this game, another set of Warpins coming in to the 4th base. We're getting some more damage done. The 5th base has been secured as well behind this for Darko.
Look at the supply. 124, 124. You gotta be kidding me.
The worker count, exactly the same. The supply count, near identical. Resources lost, practically identical. Upgrades, precisely the same. Base count, the same. There's nothing differentiating these two at all.
They're so evenly matched. It is unreal. I've never seen this before in any StarCraft 2 game, especially in a PvP. It is crazy. Is Darkomicron going to be able to do some significant damage? Taking out the Nexus definitely would be. That's going to lower the income of his opponent slightly, but he's still mining out of 3 bases, so it's not the end of the world. But it starts to become a factor now. How quickly can you max out again? If you end up losing a base, that's really going to hurt your ability to get back up to maximum supply.
And you need to keep those layer bases up. Okay, let's face it, let's be realistic for a second. With the state of the game at the moment, we're into the very late stages. Every mining base counts. Also, the bank is going to become really important because, as you can see, both players are pretty broke as they're remaxing out. After a big engagement, it's whoever's going to be able to get the reinforcements fast. There is a Zealot warp in coming in once more, but that's going to clean up. There's a big engagement here by the 5th base as well. We can see that this is coming off a lot better for Melle. He's about to get +3 Protoss shields kick in as well. That's a small upgrade advantage that with this many Archons could be a big thing. And suddenly, Darko is being forced back. This is a good push by Melle.
He did not expect this many Archons. Going to have to be on the run. He's going to sacrifice some Stalkers. Actually, he's not. He just blinks them back. Thought he might sacrifice them to buy some time, but he doesn't do that. 3 Colossi, 4 Colossi now for Darkomicron. Whereas Melle, has he been? Yeah, he has been resuming Colossi production. He's got some Colossi walking around back at home. But the Colossi count is currently 7 for Darkomicron.
Oh, look at this. DT's warping in to the 5th base of Darko. This is actually killing a lot. And this Nexus may even go down here. Darko's army is quite a long way out of position. These are +3 DTs as well. They're doing a huge amount of damage. And this Nexus will fall. That is a good little snipe off. And that did a lot of damage there for Melle.
Yeah, he did need to do something in return right now, because being down that far in a Colossi count, it's difficult. These DTs trying to morph into Archons. This could be a good time to engage from the back for Melle, and he is going to do just that. One of the Colossi shooting away at the Archons at the top, but the Colossi advantage, of course, heavily in favor of Darkomicron. But look at these Immortals. That's what I was afraid of. If those Immortals get surface area on the Colossi, your Colossi are going to go down pretty quickly. And even though Darkomicron had the Colossi count advantage, these Immortals are turning it around. Yeah,
all of the Colossi now have been taken out. Darko does have 2 more just spawned, but this is now suddenly probably the biggest advantage we've seen in this game. Melle at 120 supply to just 90. Can Darko bring this back? He's not got much money in the bank. That's the problem. This 5th base is going to get denied again. And now this is getting to become a solid advantage for Melle. Melle's also slightly lower on the worker count, which in a strange sort of a way, if once they reach max out again, if they do get that far, could be beneficial. But Darko, coming in with a good DT warp in at the 4th base, is able to pick off a few more workers. And actually this game so far, Darko's killed 52 probes to only 21 of Melle. So economic damage done has been quite considerable.
The Nexus does fall to that 1 DT there, Darkomicron. He is keeping so active with drops everywhere. There's the DTs at the 3rd trying to kill that Nexus. And the income is currently hugely favoring Darkomicron.
Oh, look at this push. Melle, he's going in. He's going to try and end this game here. The Colossi do just come out on the high ground. They're doing some nice damage, but these Archons with +3 shields are so important. We need to see how
the Immortals are heroes, Maddles.
Yeah,
they are making the difference. They made the difference in the first engagement in the middle of the map, and they might be winning the game here for Lowland Lions. Melle, that Immortal is such a hero, has done so much damage to the Colossi. Archons coming up, and the last unit will be tumbling over, and that might be the game decided.
I think it may be. Okay, Melle is definitely really far ahead here. The production facilities are going down. There's, as far as I can see, there's a couple of DTs warping in. That's pretty much it for Darko, but if this ends up in a base race, it's not going to go in his favor. He is pulling a couple more units over, but Melle, he's just destroying the main base. And that's the problem. With no production, Darko's just not going to be able to keep up. Army supply-wise, now Melle is pretty substantially ahead, 58 to 31. This should, in theory, be his game now, but I've never seen a PvP like this, so who knows what's going to happen.
It's difficult to say. I think Artosis in this situation would say, yeah, Tasteless, he's pretty dead. That's one of the things that he uses.
It is, but yeah, this is not looking good now for Darko. He is going to try and go with one last push. He's doing okay at the natural. We do have a single Colossus coming in here for Melle. It's going to try and do a little bit more damage to these Zealots, try and kite it away. Back to the safety of, well, not anything there for safety, but no, he's not even got any money. He can warp in a couple of Zealots, that's it. Both of these players are pretty broken. It's coming down to this kind of last bit of almost
Darkomicron has had the income advantage, and he's actually been able to get up quite a decent army that is currently attacking the 3rd base of Melle, or actually the 4th base, because Melle expanded to the left location first. And that income advantage, that base that is mining here for Darkomicron, his 4th one, is actually doing wonders for him. It is slowly bringing him back in this game. Whereas Melle was spending all his time killing the production facilities, he's now killed everything, by the way. No production anymore for him.
And okay, so no production is remaining currently, unless more is made in the near future. If we look at the army supply, it's a lot closer, 58 to 41. Probe kills on a Nexus, and they are successful. Well done, probes. That's the family of sneaky probes from earlier, by the way. Like, they're a legendary group of probes. Now, these Zealots, they're coming in, they're going to try and do some more damage, and they're doing an okay job. The 4th base finally going to get taken out here, but these probes going down. This is a really close game all of a sudden, and it is a base race situation. The 4th falls. The Zealots at the natural base of mCon, they're doing a good amount of damage as well, Lillian.
The army composition, though, how is Darkomicron gonna hope to kill 4 Colossi with this many Zealots? That's basically what his army supply is made of. That's a lot of Zealots. Let's take a look at the unit tab and we can see there's 9 Zealots out on the field. Maybe the DTs can make something work in a situation like this. There's only 1 observer for Darkomicron. He has to be super careful with that observer. If he loses it, DTs will win the game for Mel.
Okay, so where we stand at the moment is that both players have got a relatively sizable force. In a head-up engagement, Mel probably will take it due to having those Colossi there. But neither player has really got any income. There's only a very small amount of gas income for Mel at the moment, but that's about to go. Now, okay, no income. There was enough money for Mel to build another Nexus, and that is exactly what he's going to go and do. And if he guards that, he should be okay. He's still got 4 probes. The problem for Darko is he cannot afford to make another Nexus. So even though he's got probes there, he has got 0 income. He's got 300 minerals and just shy of 500 gas in order to get units to win this game. But the problem is, he doesn't have any production facilities. So he can't even make anything.
No, he's not going to be able to produce much of anything. He does have 12 probes, so he can go ahead and chunk down simulators everywhere, drop down pylons, and he might be able to delay the ending of the game by losing all his structures. That would be a good thing, as we see. Actually, there's some Zealots here from Mel in the main base. They might have been trapped there. That's going to be a bit of a wasted supply there. I don't think they will be able to kill much of anything. Every Zealot counts, by the way. Every unit that you lose now is pretty big.
So,
oh, DT gets taken out there. That's a nice pick-off for Mel, focusing down that DT. Do we have any DTs left? How are the DT counts looking? 1 DT for Darkomicron, 2 for Mel.
This game is really got me scratching my head.
There's no observers. The last observer has died for Darkomicron, I think.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't got a single observer.
He's got no observers.
So, but does Mel realise this? Is Mel aware? Does Mel have a... I don't think Mel has a DT over there yet, but if he sends his 2 TDs, he can just win. Yeah. Flat out. He's got no detection. He can win this game if he sends the DTs over. But
there's absolutely no detection for Darkomicron. The last few buildings are now located in his main base, but there are probes all around the map. Darkomicron's got...
And he's just built a pylon as well. He's just starting
he's spreading his structures out, but that Nexus is up and mining for Mel. Yeah. He even has some probes getting some income for him there, and not having an observer, the DT should win the game unless something really awkward and strange and magical happens.
Yeah, as long as Mel doesn't do anything crazy, as long as he doesn't lose that Nexus, it should be fine, but... Oh! Okay,
that's it.
GG!